Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the finest Dawn of War Soulstorm casts this side of East Yorkshire. And today I've got a 1 versus 1 on Titan's Fall. Playing as the Space Marines, we've got Bhaltair, Roshaun, and playing as the Necrons, we have got Focus. Focus will be opening up with triple Pillar Scabs and triple Plasma Generators, whereas the Space Marines are going to go for double Scout Marines and a Chapel Barracks. So Space Marines versus Necrons, quite an interesting matchup. I imagine that the opening will go something like Force Commander for the Space Marines, as in the early game the Force Commander is able to slap around the Necron Lord. Doesn't usually get to... Oh, well, never mind me, he's going to go for Space Marines instead. Which makes sense, I suppose, because the Force Commander, like I say, can slap around the Necron Lord. But the Necron Lord, if you're able to keep your micro and keep your focus on, it'll just teleport away, won't he? He's a very mobile Lord, is Necron Lord. We are just seeing just build the Scabs, build up the Plasma Generators, not bothering with the strategic points for now, as is good and normal for a Necron player. I do believe that the opening against Space Marines is usually Necron Warriors into Flayed Ones, he says with no degree of confidence, just because in Tier 1 the Space Marines lack maneuverability, and those Flayed Ones, while a little bit slower than the Space Marines, can keep them on their toes as they're manoeuvring around, but we're not seeing any early kind of summoning core at the moment, so it does just look like that Focus is going to be trying to get as many Plasma Generators on the go. He's not even built up like a precautionary turret, which is what you would normally see in a map of this size. It's not a... Actually, I can't zoom out like I normally do on the other mods, but it's not an amazingly large map. Not terribly huge, but not terribly small neither. It's still within harassment range. We are seeing Space Marines now maneuver down over onto the Necron side of the map. Scouts is capturing all their good stuff. Necrons will probably want to at some point try and resist them as the Necron Warriors maneuver on down here. Quite dangerous to maneuver outside when we've got no summoning core, as of course if you need to come back home to defend, well, those guys are over here now. It'll take them a million years to walk all the way back over onto this side. We are seeing Space Marines now going to come over, and the first aggression of the match begins. Necrolord will be coming out soon, and it will be able to keep these guys at bay, but a second squad of Space Marines will be quite the issue to deal with. I'm going to now see that summoning core built up around the backside. And the Warriors over here will maneuver forward. He is going to get an extra couple of squad members in there, anticipating that we might lose a few in this coming engagement. Necron Lord has popped. Second squad of Necron Warriors on the way. Scouts on the right side, harassing those Builder Scabs. There we go. Lime green, fairly mean, jumps in. So these Space Marines will be offline from firing for the moment. The Necron Warriors over here aren't going to be that happy with this situation. Already been brought down to 2 models. Their reinforcement rate, not amazing. Will engage in close combat, which is probably actually where they'd want to be. These Space Marines trying to focus and get that squad wipe. If they can get a squad wipe, they'll certainly open things up, but they teleport backwards. Summoning core being built up at the right moment, at the right time. Force Commander now out. So if he joins this squad here, he can happily take on that Necron Lord. Although maybe, mind you, he'll be waiting for... Are we seeing an armory at all? No armory as of yet, but when an armory does come and the plasma pistols come out, his help against the Necron Lord will be drastically improved. It's currently got no artifacts. Little short hop onto the other side of these Space Marines. Space Marines being reinforced to maximum numbers as well. So this does look like a lot of money being poured into Tier 1. Bhaltair Roshan going in for that killing blow as soon as possible. There, look at that. I know my build orders. Most of the time. Flayed Ones are going to come in. And in Tier 1, without their Sergeant, the Space Marines are going to suffer tremendously from the morale debuff aura about them. So isn't that good? Scouts have been wiped out. Necron Lord feeling not brilliant. Definitely not very cash money, but that's right, he's done his job. He held the line for as long as he could, and now the Necrons are growing in number. Morale's been broken on those Space Marines, so they will run away. The Necrons will fight, or live to fight, or they will unlive to fight another day, shall we say. Let's go, going to come over here, maybe do some cheeky critical location capturing. The Necrons are not going to stop. They're going to continue pushing because they've got more flayed ones being summoned in, but a third squad of Space Marines should add to their DPS. But I mean, it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. And the Necrons are just going to continue growing into that power ball, rolling forward into the Space Marine lines. Very nice defense there. Well, that's the plan of the day, I think, for Mr. Roshaun. Just more Space Marines. Just brute force. And I mean, what was this? This is 8. Oh, hold on. Clicking on people. That's 8. 6. I'm not counting it. It's a lot. I ain't doing math today. Far too tired for that. When you get to my age, boys and girls, quick maths is just not something you can pull out of the bag anytime you want. But both players staying firmly into Tier 1. No one daring to push any further into the tech tree until they've at least got some sort of stability on the map. And with Bhaltair going for that killing blow by the looks of things, he is not going to relent, which may or may not prove his downfall. I mean, this is a lot of money. 50 blue for each individual Marine. Let's have a quick look at the economies. 98 and 0 compared to 45% and 70. So he hasn't even built up any... Oh, well, there we go. He's now building up plasma generators, so... Clearly that was the Space Marine spam. But he's failed in that aggression. Now it looks like he's thinking about going into Tier 2. We are seeing Tier 2 for Focus over here. Got 2 flayed ones in the oven. Ready to pop out when they're feeling cooked and ready. I've got 1 flayed 1 squad there. The Necron Warriors push on forward. Necron Lord in the middle. And there we go. Moving them back. You normally see the Necron Warriors already engaging with the Space Marines first. Flayed 1 spawn round the back lines. But this is fine too. Just creating space. Allowing yourself to tech up. Because until the Space Marines get any kind of bigger weapons, they're not exactly going to punch through the Necron line at the moment. So they've got time to play for, they've got time to kill. Although we've still got this listening post for Space Marines over here. So could be focusing a little bit more on punishing the Space Marines' economy. After all, I mean, what have they got? Oh, aha, Listen, this is interesting. Building up a cheeky ghost turret on the back lines. I'm going to see some War Gear Bionics. So transitioning into those tanky Marines. I mean, Tier 1 Space Marines are alright, but later on in the game, when you see them with all their War Gear upgrades, they do become a thing of their own. Stalwart line. Quite difficult to take on. I'm seeing thermoplasma generators being built up over on that side. The right-hand side, shall we say. Listing post finally being taken out. And the Wraith coming out as well. Just to help with the capping and decapping. Space Marines being pulled back to open up that Ghost turret. And they've now got into Tier 2. We're going to go for a Chaplain. And Chaplain, that makes sense. It's got a health regen for anyone nearby, which is like... God, is it like 50% plus health regen? I know the Apothecary is like 25. It's... The Chaplain's a super Apothecary, basically. Very angry Apothecary. And when you've spent so much money on infantry, stuff like that certainly makes a lot of sense. Helps the longevity of your fighting forces. Seeing a Wraith moseying on down over onto this side. Necrons have spent a lot of time building up this thermoplasma generator. It would make sense for them to defend it. Chaplain has came out to play. Necron Lord, have you got any upgrades? I'm about to go for your upgrades. I was going to say, he's a little bit weirdly without his artifacts. He needs his trinkets and his baubles if he wants to feel like a useful, contributing member of society. Necron Lord being put in the corner by the mass of Space Marines. And he's already used his teleporting juice, so he is going to go down. Riff over here has been phase shifted until he wasn't. Now he's dead. Such is the way of things. So thermoplasma generator, wonderful idea if they could defend it. The Necron warriors are over here. And I think that they already used their teleporting stuff to maneuver around to somewhere else on the map. It takes a long time for the Necron teleporting ability to recharge. Be really careful how you use it. Force Commander now with a Thunder Hammer as well as a Plasma Pistol. So these Sergeants and the Force Commander is a lot more deadly now than they were previously. Necrons anticipating a push will bring on a Ghost Turret down there. Going to rebuild their Necron Lord, but they don't have... What's their current squad cap? They've got 14. So where's... Oh, all their units are down here. Right. They're all down here, and they'll all be inside. Oh, pardon me. God, it was like a cough and a yawn at the same time. Yeah, so they've got some... They've got options. They can teleport back if it's recharged to defend. Or they could push and go for a more base trading kind of situation. Necron Lord has been reborn here, so he can come down. Flayed ones are alright for defensive things for now. They won't win on their own. Flayed ones never tend to win this kind of engagement without any support. But they have now been hemmed in. John Cena being thrown down. As well as... Oh, you'd very rarely see an obelisk being upgraded to a turret, but... That's fair, man. That's fair. Solar Pulse giving these guys pause for concern. The Necrons a little bit of time to get these troops into position. Are going to see a machine cult with a land speeder on the way. Land speeder should be able to take on these Necrons. There's no disruption field on these guys, so their range damage won't be as impressive as it would normally be. And a land speeder good at general infantry mowing down jobs. See more Wraiths on the way. But where are you going, Space Marines? You've got them on the run. Oh, is it the double? Right, it's all three of these. They don't at the moment have any kind of... Oh, you've got some missile launchers. You could take them on. I think they're just a bit worried about these Necron warriors in the base, but the land speeder is doing the job. I mean, yeah, okay, they've killed a couple of servitors. The servitors are cheap as chips. Not a problem for the Imperium whatsoever. You can always find a willing subject to become a new servitor. I'm fairly certain that's how the law goes. Servitor summer camp. Bring your kids, bring your family. Necron Lord coming in. Now he's got all his upgrades. The phylactery, the plumbing, phase shifty doodad. And with tier 2 being in play, his health has gone up a little bit. This is a group hug he does not want to be involved in, so he will come out. More flayed ones on the way. Be a triple stack in there. This Wraith being a nuisance, keeping his land speeders locked inside, but while it's lovely that the... Oh, are you just going to hide... Good attempt hiding in the corner. Didn't quite work there, sadly. Space Marines are now so massed in number they can now spread out to multiple attack forces. Necron Lord not too keen at this listening person being popped on down there. So, and he's going to go for some Immortals, which, okay, fair enough, yeah, they've got the Rhinos, they've got the Land Speeders, so won't need to have too many Immortals, I think. I think this combination of Flayed Ones and Necron Warriors is the ideal solution. It's just, we're seeing no upgrades for the Warriors. We've got... I don't think we've got any upgrades for them. Phase shift being used on the Flayed Ones, which is totally fine. Gives them a chance to rebuild their numbers. Now the Space Marines have got plasma guns. And they're also able to spread themselves out using these Rhino transports. So actually maybe Flayed Ones might not be so hot after all. So at this point, the Necrons could go for some destroyers. But I mean, the Space Marines have got their missile launchers, so that's quite difficult for them. They go for Pariahs, but that's tier 3. And you can only really get one of them, which is a bit of a pain. It's a hard nut to crack, are the Space Marines, when they get to their tier 2.5. We're going to give it a go, gosh darn it. If the Immortals can keep on top of those Rhino transports, deny the Space Marines their manoeuvrability. Flayed One's coming along, but we're just lacking that consistent DPS from the Necron warriors or from destroyers. Because while the flayed ones are maneuvering around and walking about, they're not doing any damage. Whereas these guys standing still, they're doing a constant level of damage. So that's why you need some kind of ranged option in there. We are going to see a Tomb Spider, which will be amazing for mitigating the Necron's main weakness, which is their problem that they can only recruit or build one thing at a time. It's going to be really careful with your build orders and what necessarily you recruit at all times as a Necron player. Our transport being taken out by double Gauss turrets. These guys are going to try their best. But one Gauss turret being taken out straight away. More flayed ones. Being so much forth. And here we go. Up there we go. John Cena beam. Making these guys not too happy about their situation. Bringing them closer into the Gauss turret. Flayed ones are now in the middle of them all. Which is where they want to be. Space Marines force have been split into two now. One in the south, one in the east. Mortal's getting some shots off on that Rhino transport. So breaking them apart as well, that's another thing that the Necrons can do. The Space Marines stand all together in one big glob. Very difficult to take on, but get them separated. A little bit easy to take on. But from the Necrons' perspective, that's quite hard to do because hitting and running, it's not what they're known for. Got Tomb Spider going to float its way over, looking for more dead and dying to rebuild into other Necron boys. Flayed ones breaking the morale, but the Sergeant keeping them rock steady. Necron's having a terrible time of it. The Spider trying to politely ignore this Dreadnought. Dreadnought's giving him a knock on the head. Moles, only 3 of them. Won't do much against a Dreadnought, especially when they're being surrounded by Assault Marines. Also, has been rebuilt. Solar Pulse, preventing these guys from destroying anything any further. Down this side, the flayed ones just keep on coming. But they will teleport away. They've bought the Necrons enough time. So what are you going for? You are going... so you've hit tier 3 now. And you're going for some pariahs. Which is all good. What are these? What are you? Hold on. So on Earth are you? And you're just like... You know the Necrons had anything infiltrated? That's terrifying. Baleful green eyes. Dripping with blood. I assume that is a glitch in the Matrix. When you put the Necrons inside the monolith and their glowy bits are still there. Flayed ones everywhere. Clearly the Flayer virus has taken hold of Focus. But it's working, man. When you are surrounded by metallic beings covered in the flesh of their enemies, you're not going to have a happy time, are you? But as long as the Space Marines can maintain their firing lines, they've got a lot of plasma guns. I could take them on. It's just that initial problem. Not sure what that Solar Pulse was going to achieve. Oh, it's a initial one, because when they come over, they won't be able to fight at this Gauss turret. I mean, that's fine. These missile launchers have got the range for it. Just fire right past. If they can hit any, of course. Hey-ho. Any of the immortals that have been built up by the Tomb Spider over here are being more or less instantly killed by these Assault Marines. So, poor Tomb Spider not really getting much out of it. Energy core on the way. Current economies are 45% and 70 compared to 121 and 119. Going to see a vehicle cap increase as well as tier 3 on the way for Bhaltair Roshaun. So fairly behind in the tech game, but he's got the military presence. Not sure he's managed to get 15 out of 14. I see. Right, it's the something to do with the Chaplain and the Force Commander being inside the Rhino transport. Fair enough. Necron Lord Look at him go. He's just phase shifted. He's just absorbing as much fire as he can in order to distract these guys from the main thing. And there we look at that. Maximum delaying tactics. You know, you don't want the Necron Lord to work at the DMV. Also deleting that Forbidden Archive for more resources, I imagine. The Space Marines have now got a nice mix of vehicles and infantry. Close combat assault marines, long range regular Space Marines. What are we going to see? We've got the energy core, so maybe a deceiver. You've deleted your greater summoning core. Is there a reason for that? Or are you just getting extra bits? Saving up money for... there, I see what he's done, right, sir. Destroy the greater summoning core, so you can then get the money for that emergency restored monolith. Not entirely sure what a restored monolith is going to do against all this. We've never really seen the monolith be the game changer that many people think it is, but in saying that, better to have one than to not have one. It could do a lot of damage to the infantry. It can hold its own against the vehicles. Got Surprise making the way down over onto this side. Trying to do some economic damage, but I don't know if economic damage is what you need right now. They've already built up their army. I mean, yeah, you could in theory destroy all their listening posts right at this very moment, but it won't change the fact that their standing army is still online and infinitely bigger than what you have on the table at the moment. And Super Spy is trying his best to find bodies. He's trying to recycle. Use, reuse, recycle, as the kids used to say back in the day. Yeah, prize they're brown bread. They have been cream crackered. Necron Lord still keeping these guys active. One of the teleports in. They built some more pariahs. And so long as they start chunking out some troops, maybe even a second Necron monolith just to spam out Necron warriors at this point might be useful. Sacred Artifact being just dropped in on the front lines as a sign of disrespect. To show that we can build wherever we want. It's none of your business. Storm Monolith on the way in. Zapping at the Dreadnought for now. Good thing about the Storm Monolith is that his weapons work against infantry, heavy infantry, and vehicles, so there isn't anything it can't take on. But it's not a very tanky piece of kit neither. As we can see, a couple of Dreadnoughts are already doing a sizable amount of damage to them. We are also seeing the forces of the Imperium come forth on this side. Pariahs are sorting them out fairly alright. But it does seem that based on their health and their damage output that they've had fair few upgrades coming their way. Assault Marines as well. The Wombo Combo, the Slap and the Tickle. They'll be alright. Storm Monolith quite low on health at the moment, but we do have some Builder Scarabs in there to repair them. Pariahs being a nuisance, but nothing that a couple of plasma guns and rocket launchers can solve. It's now a case of hunting down the monolith. There's no HQ building to kill here for now. It's off on its travels, off on its journeys. Oh, I feel sorry for whatever it was here. Oh, it must have been a servitor minding its own business, then being killed instantly. I do love the big monolith zap. It's very satisfying to watch, to be fair. More Cena beams come down. These guys blinded by the green light, but they'll just get inside the Rhino, put their sunglasses on, go for a drive, or a drive, sorry, if I can say my words properly, and then just avoid it altogether. Poor Necron Lord. He's got one trick, and they're avoiding it altogether. We are not seeing anything coming out of the monolith at the moment. You can build stuff. You are allowed to. Unless he's saving up for the, whatever you call it, the Nightbringer or whatever. Verkus, I assume, says GG or RR, because that's what the alphabet looks like, I think. Bhaltair Roshaun bringing down the stronghold as well, sir. Very good game. Nice back and forth. Wonderful delaying tactics and use of flayed ones from Verkus. An interesting opening in the form of Space Marine mass at the beginning and then transitioning seamlessly into a regular build order later on. If you are unaware, Bhaltair Roshaun is also on the YouTubes, and what I'll do is that I'll pop a link to his YouTube channel below, because it's really nice and stuff. So, yeah, anyway, my name's been Mr. Landshark. Pleasure as always, never chore. I will see you in a bit. Peace.